People respect strength, not pity. That's a truth as old as time, yet so many people fail to understand it. We live in an era where expressing vulnerability is often mistaken for a virtue in itself, where people are encouraged to share their struggles openly, seeking validation and comfort from others. And while there's nothing inherently wrong with admitting difficulty, there is a fine line between sharing honestly and indulging in self-pity. One earns you respect, the other erodes it. The reason is simple. People are drawn to strength. They admire those who can carry their burdens without crumbling under them. When you meet someone who has faced hardship and emerged stronger, you listen to them. Their words carry weight because they have been tested. They didn't just talk about their problems, they conquered them. And that's the key difference. When you constantly tell people your problems, expecting them to sympathize, you unknowingly make yourself smaller in their eyes. You signal that you are overwhelmed, that you cannot handle the difficulties life throws at you. And while there may be a handful of kind souls who offer you their time and attention, the reality is that most people will begin to tune you out. It's not because they're heartless, it's because everyone is fighting their own battles. They are struggling with their own chaos, trying to put their own lives in order. They don't have the time or energy to take on your burdens as well. And even if they do, their respect for you diminishes when they see that you are not taking responsibility for your own struggles. Respect is not given freely, it is earned. And it is earned through the demonstration of competence, resilience, and responsibility. Imagine two people going through the exact same hardship. One of them complains to everyone who will listen, detailing every painful aspect of their suffering. They seek constant reassurance, hoping that others will validate their pain. The other person, facing the same difficulty, acknowledges their struggle, but doesn't dwell on it. Instead, they focus on solutions. They take action. They push forward, despite the weight they carry. Now ask yourself, who would you rather follow? Who would you rather have by your side in a crisis? People gravitate toward those who can bear the burden of life without constantly asking for help. That doesn't mean you should never ask for guidance or support, but there's a difference between seeking wisdom and seeking pity. When you go to someone with a problem, do you want advice or do you just want them to feel sorry for you? If it's the latter, you are wasting their time and yours. Strength is attractive because it signals capability. It shows that you are someone who can be relied upon, someone who can endure hardship without falling apart. And that is the kind of person people respect, listen to, and admire. Think about the people in history or in your own life whom you hold in high regard. They are not the ones who constantly complained about how hard things were. They are the ones who pushed through, who took responsibility for their circumstances and found a way forward. This is not to say that life isn't difficult. It is, sometimes unbearably so. But the way you respond to hardship determines how others perceive you and, more importantly, how you perceive yourself. If you constantly define yourself by your suffering, you reinforce the idea that you are powerless. And if you believe you are powerless, you will act accordingly. But if you take on the responsibility of facing your challenges head on, you will develop strength. And that strength will not only earn the respect of others, but will give you the confidence to navigate life's difficulties with resilience. The world does not owe you sympathy. It never has and it never will. The sooner you accept that, the sooner you can start focusing on what actually matters, becoming stronger. Not just physically, but mentally and emotionally. The more capable you become, the more people will take you seriously. And when you do speak about your struggles, they will listen, not because they pity you, but because they recognize that your words come from experience and strength. So if you want respect, stop seeking pity. Stop telling people your problems as a way to gain attention or validation. Instead, face them, work through them, learn from them, become someone who can endure without falling apart. Because that is the person people respect, the person people look up to. And more importantly, that is the person who ultimately finds meaning in the struggle of life. When you complain, you reinforce your own helplessness. You tell yourself and those around you that you are powerless in the face of your circumstances. Every time you go on about how unfair life is, how others have it easier, or how things never seem to go your way, you are cementing the belief that you are a victim of forces beyond your control. And when you see yourself as a victim, you stop looking for ways to change your situation. You start expecting others to fix it for you, or you resign yourself to the idea that nothing will ever improve. Either way, you strip yourself of agency. The truth is, life is hard for everyone. Everyone has struggles, setbacks, and moments of deep frustration. But the people who move forward are the ones who refuse to waste time complaining. Instead of fixating on what's wrong, they focus on what can be done. They take responsibility for their actions, even in situations where they aren't entirely at fault, because they understand that responsibility is the only path to progress. Complaining, on the other hand, keeps you stagnant. It gives you an excuse to remain where you are. This doesn't mean you should suffer in silence. There is a difference between complaining and seeking genuine advice or support. If you are facing a difficult situation, it's perfectly reasonable to discuss it with someone who can offer insight or guidance. The key difference is intent. Are you talking about your problems because you're looking for a way forward, or are you just looking for validation in your misery? If it's the latter, you are wasting your time and theirs. The solution is simple but not easy. Take action. Instead of complaining about a problem, ask yourself what you can do to change it. If something is within your control, take steps to fix it. If it's outside your control, focus on adapting to it or finding a way to work around it. Either way, action leads to movement, and movement leads to progress. Even small steps in the right direction are better than remaining stuck in a cycle of negativity. In many cases, the act of doing something, anything, is enough to break the spell of helplessness that complaining creates. When you take action, you shift your mindset from one of passivity to one of control. You stop seeing yourself as a victim and start seeing yourself as an active participant in your own life. And that shift is powerful. The next time you catch yourself complaining, stop and ask, what am I actually accomplishing by saying this? If the answer is nothing, redirect that energy into something useful. Channel your frustration into problem solving. Take a small step forward, no matter how insignificant it may seem. Over time, this mindset shift will make a profound difference in your life. This is a harsh truth, at the end of the day, but it's complaining one that achieves nothing except to make you feel worse, keep you stuck, too many people go and push others away, expecting others to be deeply invested in their struggles, their emotions, and their problems. Choose wisely. They assume that because they feel something intensely, the world should acknowledge it. But the reality is, people are wrapped up in their own lives. They have their own problems, fears, and responsibilities to deal with. Your struggles are not at the top of their priority list, and they shouldn't be. At first, this might sound cruel or discouraging, but it's actually liberating. When you realize that most people don't care, you stop expecting external validation for your pain. You stop waiting for others to recognize your suffering before you decide to take action. You stop relying on sympathy as a form of motivation. And when you do that, you become independent. You take responsibility for your own emotions, and that is the first step toward real strength. Many people waste years of their lives waiting for someone to come along and truly understand them. They believe that if only someone would listen, if only someone would see their pain, things would get better. But even when they find someone who listens, their problems don't magically disappear. Because understanding is not the same as solving. No amount of external validation will change the fact that at the end of the day, you are the one who has to deal with your life. No one else is coming to save you. This doesn't mean that people are completely indifferent. It's not that they don't care about you at all. It's that they don't have the time or energy to focus on your problems the way you do. They have jobs, relationships, families, and personal struggles that consume their mental and emotional bandwidth. And that's perfectly normal. Expecting others to constantly carry your burdens for you is not only unrealistic, but it's also selfish. Everyone has their own weight to bear. Once you accept this, you can stop feeling resentful when people don't respond the way you want them to. You can stop feeling disappointed when your problems aren't met with the level of attention you think they deserve. Instead, you can start focusing on what actually matters, finding solutions, taking action, and becoming someone who can handle their own difficulties. Because strong people don't wait for the world to care, they take responsibility for their own lives. Paradoxically, when you stop expecting people to care, you start to attract respect. People admire those who face their struggles without constantly seeking attention or sympathy. They respect those who handle their problems with resilience and composure. When you stop broadcasting your difficulties in search of validation, you become someone worth listening to. And when you do speak about your struggles, people take you seriously because they know you're not just looking for pity. This also doesn't mean you should never share your problems. There is a difference between seeking guidance and seeking validation. It's perfectly fine to talk to a mentor, a trusted friend, or a professional when you need help. The key is to approach those conversations with the mindset of learning and improving rather than just complaining. Instead of saying, "Here's everything that's wrong with my life," you should be asking, "What can I do to make things better?" That shift in attitude makes all the difference. Understanding that most people don't care also helps you build emotional resilience. It teaches you to rely on yourself rather than constantly looking outward for support. It forces you to develop problem-solving skills and mental toughness. Instead of collapsing under the weight of your struggles, you learn to carry them with dignity. And in doing so, you become a person of substance, someone who can be trusted, relied upon, and respected. Ironically, the moment you stop needing people to care is the moment they start paying attention. When you take control of your own life, people notice. They see the discipline, the strength, and the quiet confidence that comes with self-reliance. And while they may never fully understand your struggles, they will respect the way you handle them. That respect is far more valuable than shallow sympathy. So if you've been waiting for the world to acknowledge your pain, stop. No one is coming to fix your life for you. And that's okay. It's actually a gift because it means you don't have to wait for permission to take action. You have the power to change your situation, to overcome your difficulties, and to build a life that doesn't depend on external validation. The sooner you accept this, the sooner you can start moving forward. That's why you must be selective. You don't owe anyone access to your inner world. Just because someone is a friend, a coworker, or even a family member doesn't automatically mean they are the right person to share your deepest concerns with. Some people simply lack the emotional maturity or discretion to handle such information responsibly. Others, even unintentionally, may offer bad advice, reinforce your worst habits, or pull you further into self-pity rather than helping you move forward. The key is to confide in people who genuinely want the best for you. Not people who will tell you what you want to hear, but those who will tell you what you need to hear. There's a difference. A true confidant isn't just a passive listener. They challenge you, guide you, and push you to improve. They don't indulge your excuses. They help you see through them. They don't encourage endless venting. They steer you towards solutions. How do you know who to trust? Look at a person's character, not just their words. Do they keep other people's secrets or do they gossip? Do they live their own lives with integrity and wisdom, or are they constantly caught up in drama? Do they give thoughtful advice or do they just echo your emotions? A person's track record will tell you everything you need to know about whether they are someone worth confiding in. That being said, there are times when confiding in the right person is necessary. Life is difficult, and there will be moments when you need guidance, perspective, or encouragement. But those moments should be handled with care. When you do decide to open up, ask yourself, is this person capable of helping me? Are they wise, trustworthy, and emotionally stable? Will they provide solutions, or will they just fuel my negativity? If the answer is uncertain, it might be best to keep your struggles private or seek someone more suited to help. There is also a difference between confiding in someone and depending on them emotionally. It's one thing to seek advice or insight. It's another to make someone responsible for your emotional well-being. The best people to confide in are those who will listen, guide, and support you, but who will also remind you that ultimately it is up to you to take control of your own life. They won't carry your burdens for you, but they will help you carry them better. Choosing wisely who you confide in is not about isolating yourself or refusing to trust others. It's about protecting your energy, maintaining control over your personal narrative, and ensuring that the people who have access to your thoughts and emotions are those who will respect and uplift you. The wrong person can drain you, mislead you, or betray you. The right person can help you grow, gain clarity, and move forward. Be selective, be mindful, and remember that sometimes the best confidant you can have is your own inner strength. Focus on solutions, not sympathy. It's easy to fall into the trap of seeking comfort when things go wrong. Life is difficult, filled with setbacks, disappointments, and unexpected challenges. When faced with hardship, the natural response for many people is to look for sympathy, to be heard, understood, and reassured that their pain is valid. And while there is nothing inherently wrong with wanting emotional support, relying on sympathy does nothing to change the situation. Sympathy may provide temporary relief, but it does not solve problems. It keeps you in the same place, reinforcing your struggles rather than pushing you toward progress. People who constantly seek sympathy develop a habit of externalizing their problems, blaming circumstances, other people, or bad luck, instead of taking responsibility for their actions. The more you focus on how unfair things are, the less time and energy you have to actually fix them. There is a critical difference between talking about problems and working towards solutions. Many people mistake venting for problem solving, but they are not the same. Venting might feel good in the moment, but it often becomes a repetitive cycle that reinforces negativity. You talk about how bad things are, receive a few comforting words, and then continue feeling stuck. Nothing changes. The same problems persist. The only way to break free is to shift your focus towards solutions. What can be done? What actions need to be taken? And how you can regain control over the situation. This shift in mindset is essential because life does not reward those who dwell on their struggles. It rewards those who take action. Think about the people you respect the most. Are they the ones who constantly complain about their circumstances, waiting for someone to feel sorry for them? Or are they the ones who face difficulties head on, refusing to be defeated? People admire strength, resilience, and competence. Sympathy seeking might get you temporary attention, but respect and long-term success come from focusing on solutions. Taking responsibility for your own problems is not easy, but it is necessary. It requires you to stop blaming external factors and start asking, what can I do to improve this situation? That question alone is powerful because it shifts your perspective from passive victimhood to active problem solving. Even if something is not your fault, it is still your responsibility to deal with it. No one else is going to fix your life for you. The sooner you accept that, the sooner you can start making real progress. This mindset applies to all areas of life: career, relationships, health, personal goals. If you are struggling at work, complaining about unfair management or difficult coworkers won't change anything. But improving your skills, adapting to challenges, and seeking better opportunities will. If your relationships are falling apart, looking for sympathy from friends will not fix them. Taking an honest look at your own behavior, setting better boundaries, and having difficult but necessary conversations might. If you are unhappy with your life, talking about how hard things are will not make a difference. Taking action, no matter how small, will. People who focus on solutions develop resilience. They become the kind of individuals who others turn to in times of crisis because they are stable, reliable, and capable. They don't panic or dwell on how unfair things are. They look for ways to move forward. This approach not only improves their own lives, but also earns them respect and influence. People naturally gravitate toward those who demonstrate competence and control, not those who are constantly seeking sympathy. It is also important to recognize that not everyone who offers sympathy is doing you a favor. Some people, often with good intentions, reinforce victimhood by constantly validating negativity. They tell you what you want to hear instead of what you need to hear. They sympathize with your struggles without pushing you to find solutions. While this might feel comforting, it is not helpful in the long run. True support comes from those who challenge you to take responsibility and encourage you to take action, not those who simply listen to your complaints without expecting change. This does not mean you should never talk about your problems. Seeking advice, mentorship, or constructive feedback is different from seeking sympathy. The difference lies in intention. Are you looking for guidance on how to improve your situation, or are you just looking for validation that your suffering is justified? The first leads to growth. The second keeps you trapped. At the end of the day, your life is your responsibility. No one else can live it for you. The more time you spend seeking sympathy, the less time you have to actually fix the things that are making you unhappy. Focus on what you can control. Take action, however small. Move forward instead of staying stuck in a cycle of negativity, because while sympathy fades, solutions create real lasting change. Become someone worth listening to. In a world filled with noise, opinions, and constant distractions, many people speak, but few are truly heard. Everyone wants to be listened to, understood, and respected, yet very few take the time to develop themselves into the kind of person whose words carry weight. If you want people to pay attention when you speak, if you want your thoughts and ideas to matter, you must first become someone who deserves to be listened to. That means cultivating wisdom, strength, and credibility. Because people don't respect words alone, they respect the person behind them. Many people assume that just because they have something to say, others should listen. But the truth is, attention is earned, not given freely. People listen to those who demonstrate competence, experience, and insight, not those who simply demand to be heard. If you want to be taken seriously, your words must carry value. And value comes from knowledge, experience, and the ability to offer solutions rather than just opinions. The first step to becoming someone worth listening to is developing yourself. Before you speak, make sure you know what you're talking about. Read, learn, and experience life deeply. Don't just repeat what you've heard from others. Form your own thoughts based on logic, evidence, and understanding. People respect those who bring something new to the conversation, not those who echo the same shallow ideas they've heard 1,000 times before. Wisdom is earned through action. If you want people to take your words seriously, prove that you live by them. If you give advice on discipline, be disciplined yourself. If you talk about resilience, show resilience in your own life. Nothing destroys credibility faster than hypocrisy. People can sense when someone's words are empty, and they quickly tune out those who fail to practice what they preach. If you want to be respected, your actions must align with your words. Another crucial factor is clarity. Many people speak in vague, uncertain, or overly complex ways, making it difficult for others to understand or connect with their message. If you want to be someone worth listening to, learn to communicate clearly and concisely. Get to the point, say what you mean, and eliminate unnecessary filler. The best communicators are those who can take complex ideas and make them simple without losing their depth. Beyond knowledge and clarity, people listen to those who bring solutions rather than just problems. Anyone can complain, point out flaws, or criticize. But the ones who truly stand out are those who offer ways to improve, fix, or move forward. If you consistently focus on solutions rather than just highlighting issues, people will seek out your perspective. They will listen not because you demand attention, but because you provide something valuable. Your ability to listen also plays a role in whether others will listen to you. People respect those who make an effort to understand them. If you dismiss others, talk over them, or never consider perspectives outside your own, you will lose credibility. On the other hand, if you show that you are genuinely interested in learning, understanding, and engaging in meaningful conversations, people will naturally gravitate toward you. They will listen to you because they know that you have taken the time to listen to them. Another essential quality is conviction. If you want people to take your words seriously, you must believe in what you say. Speak with confidence, but not arrogance. Know the difference between being assertive and being stubborn. Be willing to stand by your principles, but also be open to changing your mind when presented with better evidence or reasoning. People respect those who are firm in their beliefs, but humble enough to grow. It's also important to recognize that not everyone will listen to you, and that's okay. No matter how much value you bring, some people will dismiss you, misunderstand you, or reject your message. Don't waste time trying to be heard by those who are unwilling to listen. Focus on refining your message, improving your delivery, and speaking to those who are ready to engage. Influence is built over time, not overnight. In the end, becoming someone worth listening to is about much more than just speaking well. It's about becoming a person of substance, someone whose words are backed by knowledge, experience, and integrity. It's about offering insights, solutions, and value instead of just opinions and complaints. It's about communicating clearly, listening deeply, and standing by your words with conviction.